Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and I have a 1-year-old son. I started this podcast for any mother who might feel alone in their journey through motherhood. Becoming a mom is hard no matter how you get there, and this podcast is about the mom stuff that comes up in our lives. Listen, enjoy, and connect with us on the Mommy Escape Time podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and yes, it has been a few weeks since I have been on. Multiple reasons, but the first one is work has been unbelievably hard. I have been working so hard this whole time we've been home as a teacher, but these last couple of weeks have been really intense. I've had lots of meetings. I've had lots of things that I needed to accomplish in short amounts of time. So that is why I was not able to do a podcast. I physically just did not have time, and I will always pick sleep or rest over doing a podcast. So that is why I just couldn't get it done. It is very hard right now because as we wrap up this school year, they're trying to get us ready for the next school year, and no one has any idea what that's going to look like. And, it's the middle of June right now, and we have no idea, obviously, where we're going to be in 2 months from now. Right now, we do not have a lot of cases here in Connecticut, and so it's been a little different. So I'm not going to spend this whole time talking about that. I'm actually going to do that part at the end. So the beginning of this episode is going to be about how I'm going back to, I don't want to say real life, but how we're transitioning into the summer and what we're going to do for the summer. And then I will move on. The second half, I'll do kind of like what's going on and what's been happening. Of course, last week we were asked not to record for Black Lives Matter because those are the voices that we should have heard last week. And I 100% agreed with that. There was a lot of listening on my part that needed to be done and a lot of learning, and that's pretty much what I did last week and actually the week before. So that's why there was not an episode last week either. And I still encourage you, please just include everyone. And I'll talk a little more about that closer to the end of the podcast too. But the first half, I want to talk about my transition into summertime. So this is my second summer. Nope, this is my third summer with my child. He is 2, but I had him in April. So my first summer was kind of like my maternity leave. And I remember that summer. It was amazing. And I enjoyed it up until I broke my leg, and then I did not enjoy it at all. And then last summer was absolutely amazing. I loved it. My son was really learning to walk, and he could walk on his own and things like that. And this summer, my son can really walk on his own, and it's awesome. So it's a little different because I kind of feel like we've been on half summer vacation since we've been home, and not in a good way, but more that I've gotten a lot of time with him, and we've done different things all around the house. So as things start to open up here in Connecticut, June 17th, we go into phase 2. So that's a week from today. Which is actually my first day of summer vacation also. So I'm very excited that it all happens at the same time. And phase 2 just lets some other things open that normally wouldn't have not been open. I will never probably be able to get my hair cut. It is impossible to get a hair appointment. And I guess it is possible to get a hair appointment. I just cannot spend $50 to get my hair cut. It takes 5 minutes to do my hair. You literally are just cutting off dead ends, and that's it. So I am trying to find a different way to get my hair cut. When my husband and I moved I left my hairdresser of 10 years and she actually, or 12 years, and she actually moved cross country at that point also. And I've not found a hairdresser since then. So it's been a big struggle. So, me trying to find one now, I guess when I was single, it was just a part of life that that's how much you spent on getting your hair done. Like, because I used to get it dyed there and glazed and everything. Ugh, I used to get so much done to my hair. And now I just, once I had my child, I just could not spend that kind of money or time at the hairdresser. So I'm really, and now I'm trying to, I don't know if these are the normal costs of haircuts. $45 is the cheapest I've been able to find. I've been trying to get into like the supercuts, which is normally where I go. But you have to call like that day to make an appointment, and they say they open at 10, but they really open at 12. I don't have childcare past 11 o'clock. Well, and that's another thing. I don't have childcare anymore. My son is home for the summer, so he does not go to daycare anymore. Um, so that means that I obviously can't bring him to my haircut, so my husband has to be available. And as things are opening up, my husband has more meetings and he's actually going to places. So it's been very complicated to work out that schedule. So my mom is coming up in July. So hopefully in July I can get my haircut, and I'm hoping that the rush of everyone to try and get their haircut might be done by then, and maybe they'll relax some of the rules for hairdressers. I feel like it must be the most stressful thing to be a hairdresser right now because there are so many rules. I remember when I've tried to call like one or two places, they're like, you can't bring in your purse. You can only bring in your credit card. Don't even bring in your phone. And I'm like, okay, but you're supposed to call me when I'm supposed to come in. So if I don't have my phone, how would I know? It's just a bunch of things. so, um, and I don't know. There's like a bunch of things with the hairdressers that I think it just makes it so hard on them that it's maybe not even profitable for them to be open. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully in July I'll get my haircut. I've not gotten my haircut since November, right before Thanksgiving. So this will be by far the longest time I've gone without getting my haircut. And next time, if I think that we're going to go into a lockdown, I totally am going to just rush out to get my haircut, although so will everyone else. But yeah, so that is one of my summer plans is to get my haircut. And I'm not going to get it that much shorter. I just really just want my hair's so uneven right now. One side is so much longer than the other. So I got to work on trying to even that part out. But I guess my hair is up most of the time now, anyways, because it's so hot up here. And it finally did get warm, so that's good. So, my summer plans are to relax. I feel like I've had to have so much of a set schedule with, okay, I have to get my son's stuff ready for daycare. I have to get all my school stuff ready. And I have these blocks of times where I was working on my school stuff, and blocks of times where I was watching my son, and blocks of times where I was trying to get like regular stuff done around the house. I will say that while we were home, the opposite of so many people is I cleaned less and I did less of the cleaning aspect that I normally do. I am normally very regimented that every week I clean the whole house and I vacuum and I wash all the floors. And since we have been home, I think I've washed the floors twice, maybe three times, um, mostly because there just isn't enough time. So I think I want to get back onto the cleaning schedule, but I won't have to budget out so much of my time doing certain things because I won't have work. And work has taken up a great deal of my time, specifically this last month, this May and this part of June. It has taken a great deal of my time. And to be fair, I mean, I start working at 7 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5. I left a message for my boss last week and I was like, you can call me at 5 a.m. It's fine. I'll be up. And she texted me. She's like, I'm not calling you at 5 a.m. But I think we did talk at like 6 or 6:30. And so that was a whole nother thing. This summer, I am hoping that Taryn is going to come back on the podcast. I don't know how many times, but I think that a few times she'll be coming over and we will be doing the podcast. We will have to do it on our guest bedroom bed because the table where we used to do it is not going to be possible anymore because we use that table for something else. So, but we'll figure it out. But yes, I am hoping to have Taryn on to talk a little bit about summer stuff. I definitely want to have her like recap this year because they got a dog about a year ago at this time. So I want to like kind of talk through how that first year of having a pet is because so many people got pets. So many people got pets during quarantine. And I think it's just helpful to hear what it was like for a whole year, not these last couple of months when you're at home the whole time. So that's hopefully going to come up. Another thing that is coming up is the amusement parks in Connecticut are going to open. Oh, for the most important thing is the playgrounds here in my town, at least, are open. I don't know if they're open everywhere, but I know that on June 17th, they will be open, I think, everywhere in the state. I guess towns can make the decision if they open them or not. So they might not open all of them at the same time. We live like in between like 3 towns. So like if you go left, you go to one town. If you go right, it's another town. If you go straight, it's a different town. And actually, if you go down that straight road a little bit, it turns into another town. So we're really right by 4 different towns. So I'm just hopeful that we'll be able to go to different playgrounds. The last 2 days we've been to the playground, and my son, the second he wakes up from his nap, asks, and I'm very nervous because Thursday, the day this is going up, it's supposed to rain, and so I don't know if we'll get to go to the playground. So I'm a little nervous about that because he doesn't do well with the change. So even if it's not thunder and lightning, we won't go. But even if it's raining a little bit, we still might go because why not? I mean, who cares? We've been inside for so long. I will never forget that May 15th was our turning point in our weather. So it hasn't even been a month that we have had nicer weather. And by nicer weather, I mean appropriate for the time. May 1st, it snowed here. I wore my winter jacket the whole first week of May. And I mean my heavy winter coat. So that was a whole thing there. So rain, we'll get wet. We can come back and change. Who cares? My son went to the playground today, and it was, I mean, he could have been there for hours. And one thing I really learned is he used to be very adventurous and do things, and he has been much more cautious. So the first day we went, he did like the baby slides that are like barely a slide. They like get on it and they basically have to push themselves down, and it's like no incline whatsoever. And he refused to get on any other slides with me, which is not like him. He used to do like much bigger slides all on his own. So yesterday he got on one of the bigger slides, and first I had to keep going on with him, and then he did it himself. So I was really happy with that. He could have stayed there for hours. We were there for like a little over an hour, and he did not want to leave. So I'm trying to definitely this summer, I don't want to say I want to get into a schedule, but I kind of want to get into a schedule. And one of the things that I kind of want to do that I'm working on right now is making like a picture schedule for him, which is maybe a very special education teacher thing to do. But my son really he likes routine and he likes predictability. He needs a lot of, I can't even think of what it's called. I don't want to say prompts, but I guess prompts is the best idea. Like saying like, okay, you have 2 minutes left, or you have two more times down the slide, then we're gonna leave, or okay, after lunch we're gonna do this. I always have to preface what's coming next, and I try and keep in that routine so he understands. We have been working for 2 months probably on I take him for a walk around after his nap. I let him play for a little while and then we go for a walk in the stroller. I try and really tire him out, like for an hour and a half after he wakes up, and then kind of let him decompress in the stroller. And so we have been working on that schedule, the routine, and things like that, to the point where now when I say it's time to go for in the stroller, he will walk up to the stroller and start climbing in himself, um, and not complain about it like he used to. So we're kind of trying to just get into that routine. So with my picture schedule, I pretty much want it to be like just small pictures, like I don't know. If I make it, I definitely will post about it on Instagram. But like pictures of like, okay, we're gonna have breakfast, then we're gonna go play outside, then we're gonna go, or you're gonna come with mommy and she's gonna go for a run, and you're gonna sit in the stroller. Then we'll go to the playground. Then we'll come back, and you'll play in mommy's room so she can shower, and then we'll play outside, then we'll have lunch, and then you'll have a nap, and then you'll get up and we'll play, or we'll go to the playground and go for a walk, come back, you'll have daddy time, and then have dinner, and then we'll go for after dinner walk, and then you can have TV time. So, one of the things that I'm really trying to decrease, which we've actually been doing a little more, is decrease the amount of TV time. Before the before we went into lockdown, we did 30 minutes a day. That was like our max. It was 30 minutes a day. He watched like one show, and then we did a few YouTube videos at the end because most shows are like 20 minutes for kids. And then just a few YouTube um, like songs like Old MacDonald or Baby Shark. So that's what we would do. So now we're at an hour at the end of the day. And I would say most of the time it has been because I have needed to catch up with work stuff. So I have needed to catch up with work, and I need that downtime for him to watch TV so I could do like another hour's worth of work. So I don't know now that I won't be working. I am going to try and decrease the amount of TV. The thing that I'm kind of letting go is those rainy days. If he wants to watch TV, he wants to watch TV. I'm not gonna say we can't watch TV. I'm not gonna let us watch TV all day. But again, I don't. We used to go to the stores, or I would take him to the mall, and he would run around there. I don't know if those are going to even be options. I don't think you can walk at the mall still in the morning. I don't think that's an option yet. Um, and I don't even know what stores are open. Obviously, I don't go to the mall. I have not taken my son to a store since we've been in lockdown. When we get to phase two, June 17th, he'll have to come to the store with me because he won't be in daycare, so I can't go and get groceries. Like, I have to get groceries somehow. So this will be my way of kind of introducing it to him. My son has struggled quite a bit lately with people wearing masks. He seemed to be okay with it at first, but he didn't see people everywhere with masks. He only at daycare they wear masks, um, but and he wasn't okay with it at first. Actually, at daycare, I should say that he did struggle with that a bit when daycare switched over to wearing masks, which actually wasn't that long ago. I want to say it was the middle of May, I would say the middle of May that happened. So I don't know, we must have been out somewhere and a lot of people in public must have been wearing masks or something. I don't know where it was, but he was like really, really struggling, not crying, but just turning away, wanting one of us to hold him. My son does not do well when I wear a mask, so that's going to be really interesting. And well, I can see him sitting in a cart just ripping it down because the few times I've had to wear it in front of him, he has done horribly with it and just rips it off my face. So, and on top of all of that, the grocery store that I normally go to is closing soon because of the pandemic. And they have to cut stores. And this is a small store, which is why I like it. If you don't know, grocery shopping to me is very overwhelming. It's like too many options, too many aisles. I get very frustrated with I can't find this, I can't find that. And you have to walk like a mile. And now it's even harder because you can only walk up one way and then down the other way of an aisle. So when I have to go to other grocery stores, it just takes so long. So it's going to be a little tough on me because I'm really going to I have to go into new grocery stores. And they're further away. And that was one of the whole reasons I didn't want to live in this house. My husband, I don't want to say my husband talked me into it because I mean, I love our house and I love where we live, but it's just near nothing. I mean, we're near the highway, but, but we have to get on the highway to get to anything. Um, so now my closest, I mean, there'll be like a small grocery store that's super expensive right down the street from us, but not something not for like weekly shopping that you could do. They don't even have that much produce, which is normally my issue that I need is the produce for my son, and I guess myself and my husband. But that's one of the big issues that I'm going to have is now I'm going to have to drive 20 minutes to go to a grocery store. And everyone used to make fun of me because I used to go to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, which is like 30 minutes away. And I'm like, well, it's 10 more minutes away than the one in my own town. So what difference does it make? So I really might be going back up to Trader Joe's, especially this summer. Um, like, what else am I going to do? Like, I feel like grocery stores are almost going to be like a destination for us. I'm going to try and save it for rainy days when I can and schedule like going to the grocery store with that. So we'll see. I don't um I don't quite know, but I'm definitely um I'm definitely looking forward to this summer. Our local amusement park, they are going to open. I know I started talking about that and then I got into the playgrounds, but our local amusement parks are going to open on a reservation basis. So I've made a few reservations. Um, I think that we will mainly be going to the water parks and maybe doing one or two rides when we go because when you're in the water parks, you don't need to wear a mask. My son does not need to wear a mask. He is young enough to not wear a mask. Um, and I don't know how long being outside you'll need to wear a mask. So something came up about a lot of the farms around here in Connecticut. And because we do a lot of pick your own, and a lot of the pick your own places said you had to wear masks. Well, now they're saying you don't need to wear masks when you're outside as long as you can keep a 6 foot distance. And I do understand at an amusement park that would be much more challenging. Um, but I think if they have like I've I think we went 4 times a week last summer to the amusement park. So I'm not sure how long masks in outside public places are going to last. Um, I mean, it's a choice that we go, so it's my choice that we're going to go, which means that I'm going to wear the mask and follow the rules. But I also know that I will not, like, I'm going to need breathing breaks. So, we're going to do what we can. I think I think the hardest part is if I'm sweating in a cotton mask. If it's soaking wet, I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Or what if it starts raining? Am I supposed to leave my mask on and let it get soaking wet? So, like, there's just some things there that I just don't know what to do. Like, what is the best thing to do at that point? Because if my mask is soaking wet, I mean, there's a reason you don't wear it in the pool, because it being soaking wet, it's not effective. So if it downpour rains, I just don't understand what to do with it. Um, so that's those are like my concerns. And I'm sure that once you like go through it and work it out, that it's fine. Um, it's just that our local amusement parks are going to be open before like Disney. I know Universal has been open. Um, and I don't want to say they've had trouble with people following the masks. The people that I've heard say people wear the masks in and then they pull them down, and then they just pull them up when they see people coming to see them to say something, or um, so I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess we'll find out. So that is one of my major things there. I'm very excited to go back to our amusement park. I'm actually really excited to do the water stuff because I think my son can actually do some of the water slides this year. So I am kind of excited about that for him. I think he'll really like it, and I'm just sort of very excited for him. I am actually buying a like tankini and shorts bathing suit this year so that I can wear that, because I don't think that I'll have to carry him as much as I did last year, which is kind of nice. Um, but I just like the idea of wearing those like little shorts instead at the water parks. Um, so yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing this summer. And then, so my school year is ending. So this is the last part. School year is ending, and the last 2 weeks have been kind of tough. 3 weeks, I will say, have been tough, and not school wise, but social justice wise. I think I'm happy that all this stuff is happening. I am also a history teacher, and one of the biggest things that I struggle with kids is when you're teaching them history, they think, "Oh, this law went into effect, so it's all set." And students often think, well, the Civil War, that was back in the 1800s, and they banished slavery then. So there's no racism now. Everyone's equal. Everyone gets the same stuff. Um, we teach Brown versus Board of Education when segregation stops. And I remember my mom talking about segregation in schools and the water fountains and everything like that. And like just being so shocked and being like, what? How could you allow that? Like, what did you think they had? These weird diseases that they needed some special water fountain? And it would like dry. I couldn't comprehend it as a child, that any of this stuff would happen. I actually still can't comprehend it. Like, what would the difference between a different water fountain be? Like, for different groups of people. Like, that makes no sense. Except if you were trying to make it so that it was accessible to different types of people so that you could choose which water fountain you wanted to use. So, I will say that a few months back, I talked about how I really struggled with my sugar fast and finding a church. And I was very upset because I had a church that I really liked, but they didn't include everyone. And I have a church and they include everyone, but there aren't a lot of families. And through all this, I've learned that it's obviously more important to stick with the church that has the values that you believe in and that includes everyone. And when you don't include everyone, you're saying that some group is not good enough, or you are better than some other group. And that's why I think Black Lives Matters is so important, because this is a group of people who have been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And I've seen other groups where I think they've had, I don't want to say an easier time, but just a faster time of acceptance. And I'm thinking, like, what what is it that is holding this Black Lives Matter group from being successful? And I think it's the buy-in from everyone. It can't just be Black Lives Matters to African Americans. It has to be that it matters to everyone in order for that to change. So I just urge you to consider that. And there's lots of information out there. There's lots of people to follow. I put up 2 people to follow. I always talk about Round the Way Mom. I've followed her forever. She was on a podcast that like changed my life about judging and judging other people, and it was very raw and honest, and it was like, why do I care? Why do I care what these people are doing? And she's like, I'm so worried that that kid has one sock on and one shoe on, and at the store, who cares? That mother is probably barely making it herself, and I'm going to judge her because she can't have her kids, you know, dressed the way I think that they should be dressed. Who cares? Who cares? If it's not literally affecting you, stop taking your time to worry about that and focus on that. So, she's starting a television show. Maybe it's a YouTube series. And I've really enjoyed that. So Round the Way Mom, she's taught me a lot. She's just a good, honest person, and she has a boy also. So it's kind of like, oh, this is what I'll be able to do with my boy when he's that age. So I love doing that stuff. That's like my favorite, is like thinking about the future, about my son, and seeing other people with their sons and kind of seeing like, oh, this is what we'll get to do someday, and not wishing for that time to come quickly, but just in the back of my mind, just knowing like, oh, that's so great. We'll get to be doing this, and this will be so fun. So, yes, Round the Way Mom. That's it. And just, you know, don't don't exclude anyone, because excluding anyone isn't going to make it better. So just care about everyone. My school year is wrapping up. I'm very happy about that. This has been such a hard year. There's been a lot of hard things, very hard on a bunch of my kids. So I am just trying to get through each day, and hopefully they'll be okay. I think the break in the summer will be the best for them. So, anyways, that will wrap up today's show. I hope everyone has a great week. I am hoping that in July and August I will have guests. Since everyone does not have to be on a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet every 30 seconds. So people might be more apt to actually be coming on. I did get some people to ask if I was going to I talked about Mia Pruitt and Jackie Bob Pearson, and I said they were 2 people to follow, and I was asked if I was going to have them come on and talk about, race and, their thoughts on things. And my answer is no, I would never ask them to do that. I am not going to self-serve my podcast by taking advantage of a situation where I should be listening and not trying to gain an audience based off that. I know if I had them on that I would get lots of listeners, and I would have lots of people who never have listened to the podcast that would listen to the podcast. I don't want to take advantage of a situation that doesn't affect me, that does affect them, to try and get followers, listeners, things like that. If that is something that they want to do eventually, that is fine. This is not the time for that. They should be supporting other podcasts for that at this time. So no, they are not coming on. I got a few messages about that, like, oh, great, they'll be on the podcast soon. And I was like, no, no, they're not going to be on the podcast anytime soon. They're just people you should follow. They brighten my day. Jackie, I cried when Jackie announced that she was pregnant, because I knew she had been trying for years, and I was just so happy for her. And anytime you know someone who has been trying for years and it hasn't worked out and it finally works out. I mean, she was so excited throughout her whole pregnancy, and she's so excited now. It's nice to see that excitement. I mean, I'm so excited still that I have my child um, every day. So I just, it just makes your heart happy when you get that happy ending and you see someone else have that happy ending. So that has, sometimes I just go back and look at her stuff just to be like, oh my gosh, she's so happy and this is what she wanted and she's just so happy. Um, so you should go back, Jackie Bob Pearson. And yes, I will end with my fun thing that my son does. He does so many fun things. So it's really hard to choose. But lately, he has wanted Mickey when we go for our walks in the stroller. So he takes his stuffed Mickey and snuggles him in the 90-degree weather, and it's like an hour walk, and he just loves it. So he just loves snuggling Mickey in the stroller, and I think it's so cute. And he'll ask for it and say it, and he'll go grab Mickey and bring him to the stroller. So, yeah. All right, so that will wrap up today's episode. I hope everyone has a great week and stays safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.